Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 64 of my modded Factorio playthrough. On this episode, we are going to use transport drones to bring clay bricks to the bus, and also do some other logistical improvements to the base as well. And then after that, we need to make all of those ore sorting and cleaning machines to expand our setup. Enjoy! Not sure which is the best belt to put them on. Probably, I think this line right here is probably the next free one. And now we're back here. Well, let's use some drones, since our drone depot is already right there. Just looking to see ways we can save on belts with the highway. Well, we can get rid of these two on the side, and actually probably get rid of that one as well. Actually, probably get rid of all these then. It's just looking at this real thick slice of belts makes me think, there's probably a better way to do that. Plus the highway's right up here. So let's do that. We need 3 supply depots and 3 request depots. We need to put the road somewhere. How wide is the road? It's a 4x4. Well, this is 4x4, so why not just put the road here? The main thing that I think that would make this a good usage for drones is just like, look how none of these are moving. Like, they're really low throughput belts, which is a perfect application for drones. We can probably move those back a slice. Let's just place this up here instead. Probably need to fix this with some landfill. See, it'll be a little annoying. But let's have a loader here just to make the belt nice and solid. Don't have to worry about inserter shenanigans. And actually, this red belt here will need to keep going. Since it's a red belt, that's our fuel belt, so we probably want that to stay in belt form. Because otherwise that would be a whole bunch of drones. But let's move it out of the way. Let's do a stack inserter and say, if wood is less than 1,000. So let's set up the supply depot here for this fuel. It's a little complicated. So you've got to pick all this stuff up because there's different types of fuel. Oh, now I need some loaders. Well, they should be done. But I guess the throughput of this is going to be pretty slow, so a stack inserter will probably work instead of a loader. So we will connect it circuit network, and we will say if everything is less than 1,000. So it won't care what it puts in there. As long as there's less than 1,000 of them in total, it will keep inserting. Let that go for a second and then check it to make sure that it stops. Then let's get rid of this fuel belt. Okay, that's still going. It might have been fine like it was. Because it's going to fill up, I guess, with 1,000 of something. And then we'll just have to make a request for all available fuel types. It'd probably be a lot better if we were only producing one type of fuel, but since our factory is producing lots of different types, it's a little confusing. Okay, let's keep clearing these belts out. Let's see, let's do 2 request depots. One gets the scaffolding. One gets a seedling nest. Actually, you probably only need a single drone in each one, just because the rate of use is going to be so low. Okay, we're getting pretty close to having this set up here. Just would be nice to do a little bit of tidying up. Okay, the roads look pretty clear. Also, probably can fix this problem right here, which I believe we needed to change the seedling nest to needing a liquefier. There we go. Now we need 2 supply depots, or I guess 3. I guess I haven't tested this yet. Can one supply depot supply multiple request depots? It seems like it would. Don't know why I wouldn't be able to. So let's put that there. We need some inserters. Actually, you might want to have a loader for these boards, because I think we're doing like 15 of them per second, so we might actually need a whole bunch of them. But let's just connect that. So board is less than 1,000. Turn it on. But we have a great many insulating boards, which we can throw in there. And now it is off. Let's put 2 filter inserters. One picks up the scaffolding, and the other picks up the seedling nest. Hey, the drones are coming. I guess that means that was set up properly. And let's set those up to enabled condition. Scaffolding is less than 1,000. Scaffolding trucks coming here. Whoa. What are these doing? Actually, can probably save a whole nother belt here and use the drones to transport this mud, because the road already comes right next to this other mud belt. So we probably don't need to have this one coming in from up here, since supply depots can work with multiple resources. Let's just use this other one since it's in close proximity. See, and that guy will always run. This miner's all done. And this depot will request mud. Just put 10 drones in there. It wants all the mud it can get. And honestly, a single stack inserter should be more than enough for that. But because mud is now on the logistics network, we probably can move this around. The road will continue to somewhere around here. Let's put a supply depot here. And since bricks stack in units of 1,000, let's actually make 10,000 clay bricks. How many were we making? Probably quite a bit. So I'm going to use a loader for this and hook up the circuit. Clay brick is less than 10,000 to turn on. So that's going to run for some time. And the mud will always get inserted in there. Hopefully the drones work with multiple stop-offs. They probably will. And so far it's working with the one. That was a very small load of mud though. I wonder if that was just a glitch for hooking it up for the first time. Because it's not sending another truck, even though there's more mud there. Okay, we need some more materials here. Looks like it is alternating between locations. It's kind of a waste. I'll have to pay attention to it later to see how it works, because I don't want a drone constantly moving around if it doesn't need to, but I don't see any settings that would affect how the transport drones work. Yeah, if it's only one drone running around, it's not consuming that much resources. It seems like it's always going to the depot that has the most resources in it, which is this one. Although it's still picking up partial loads. I'll have to pay attention to it and see how it works. Right there. To an unloader for a nice clean belt. Although I guess we'll need a request depot for every fuel type that might come down, which is kind of annoying about having multiple resources here. So it's going to be charcoal, carbon, or pellets. At least that is still on there. It's kind of annoying doing it like this, unfortunately. Well, that's what happens when you try new things, is you don't know how they're going to work until you try them. So let's set this up for, let's say, the least ideal thing, which is carbon. And then the next ideal thing, which is the pellets. And then the final thing is the charcoal. And then we'll have some priority splitters going on here. Though might need to space these out a bit. So given the choice between charcoal and pellets, we want to prioritize the pellets, because the pellets are bad and we want to get rid of them. And then the same will apply here, that if carbon's available, it gets used before those other two things. And then it gets shot down on its way. So we probably don't need very much of this, so one drone for each type ought to be fine. This should be all of the belts that we had to move around to make this work. So now the last thing we actually need to do is what we started here to do. And that is to get clay bricks. So we can put it, let's say, right up here. Let's extend the road up. And say we want clay bricks. How many? I mean, clay bricks are technically free. So let's set it to 10,000. All it requires is processing time. And I believe this is the clay bricks belt. And let's use a loader so the belt is nice and even. Let's try just resetting this whole thing. Probably won't help anything, but let's replace it and see what it does. The fuel seems to have sorted itself properly. And clay bricks are almost filled up already. That's how quickly it produces it. So the drones should be making their way down here pretty soon once the fuel truck gets the fuel delivered. Yep, here they all come. That's right, they carry in double stacks now. So I don't need quite as many drones as I thought I did. It's kind of, in part, why I don't like the capacity upgrade, the stack upgrade of the drones, because then I forget how many drones do I need to put down in order to move this many stacks, because the problem is those stacks end up sitting inside of buildings. And I don't like having unnecessary amounts of processed items. That's kind of the whole point of doing this, is not having that, so it's a little annoying that stack upgrades kind of mess with that a little bit. But they seem to have caught up. Doing everything they need to. So we got a little sidetracked, but it was for the betterment of the factory. I think I forgot one more thing. The wood. I believe it goes in right here. We need to request wood. A whole bunch of it, so let's do 5 drones worth. I wonder if turning that into a buffer chest would make it work any differently. Or buffer depot. I wouldn't think so, but I'm new to the mod, so let's do mud and then the 10 drones. Let's set this to 2,000 wood. Actually, I think at maximum production we're actually going to use quite a bit of wood. I think it's like 15 wood per second or something like that. It looks like I got rid of it, so I can't see, but I have the feeling it's quite a bit. Yeah, it looks like the drone is still making partial trips. I don't know why it's working like that in this way, only with the mud. Like, it's making full trips with all the other resources, so it's working as I would have expected it to. But for some reason, it's only making partial trips with just the mud. The difference here being that there's 2 different depots supplying mud, where everything else I think only has 1 depot supplying it. But for now, I'll just keep an eye on it. Looks like we're building up stone again. Well, one thing we can do is keep producing a bunch of landfill. That is definitely somewhere to make all of the stone go. We certainly need a lot of it. Crafting, and look at that, no more red research to do. I don't think we really need any of this stuff. Well, let's just work on the next tier of character upgrades. Because all of these things use a very similar selection of resources, let's try to build this in a way where we only have to pull things off the bus once for all of this. For example, if you look at drills and ore crushers, they're very similar. Really, the only difference is that the ore crusher needs clay bricks, while the mining drills need electronic boards. So let's just place it off to the side, and then see if there is an efficient way of putting them all together. So we're doing burner drills to electric miners to miner 2s. Actually, we probably can do this whole setup since we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 item types. We can get that done with 5 belts just by using half and half. The only thing that would be a little limited is the steel. And we could put steel on its own belt, but we'll never produce it that fast anyway, so it's really not a problem. So we probably could put things in a giant line and even snake it up and down if we needed to in order to make it even more convenient to place. So let's do that then. That'll just make this a lot simpler. There we go. So it would have a bunch of belts on the outside. It looks like the only one that would really need to be red is steel. Well, steel and these clay bricks. Well, we'll worry about that in a bit, but let's just make these yellow because they're cheaper. So it'd be something like that, and a lot of these machines have the same number of steps here. And the ore crushers have the same 3 steps. So we can copy that and plop it right there. And switch this to burner ore crusher, ore crusher number 1, ore crusher number 2. And we could probably just have it go straight down. Looks like there's plenty of room here for that. So the flotation cells can be made by themselves, and so can the ore powderizers. So we need sorting facility. So ore number 1, ore 2, and then the flotation cells and the powderizers. And that's basically it. Just a nice, long, clean line, and then a whole bunch of belts. Let's see. Actually getting all of these resources in here is going to be a little tricky. Let's see. Let's try to figure out where it's going to go. It's going to go 2 spaces over. Let's see. Let's make that those inner ones red. Although it might make it a little easier if we make the middle ones like that, because then they'll just come down there like this. And then those other ones can kind of go in like that. The only caveat being we'll need to combine the bricks outside somewhere. So let's make this one steel. Yeah, we don't even have a red belt coming in here. This is certainly not going to keep up, but I'll make that much red anyway. Okay, that's a bit of a mess there, but it looks like it's going to work. So you kind of need to do the same thing with gears up here. I wonder if we can copy paste that setup. Here we go, I think that'll work. How's that for belt stitching? So bobmonium is running low, but I believe that bobmonium is just this right here. So we don't really need to follow that anymore. So I believe our other patch is doing quite alright. Okay, I think we have all of our resources. So now we just need to get this placed again, and then do all the various inserters that are required. I guess we'll need some lights too. Let's do the miners first. So, what kind of inserters are we going to need? Looks like essentially one yellow for everything with the exception of steel. So iron, stone, and an engine. So we can grab an engine there, and then have a long-handed to get the iron. Then we need the stone from over there. So let's see how this works. Bots would make this a little easier, but for now this will work. Now we're automating miners. Clay bricks. Okay. Let's connect them. All green. Great. This might not be perfectly balanced. If it's 1 point something, probably is, so it might not run quite full power. But that should be everything. Okay, we got green. Let's see if it turns red on us here. Yeah, seems like it's going. Just barely, but it's going. Seems to be running. Want to make sure all these are set up properly and they stop at 50. You don't want to be producing way too many of them. That seems to be working. And finally the powderizer. So gears, clay bricks, and steel. Seems to be going. Then we can kind of clear this up by shortening the belts where they can be. And there we go. That ought to help a little bit. Of course, we're nuking our resource production right now, but that's okay. It'll catch up eventually. Oh, coal caught up. Let's make the coal to go down there. Uh-oh, stuff's taking damage. Not too much. Just lots of nearby biters. Lots and lots of them. the pollution cloud actually isn't that bad. We've been doing a decent job at keeping the factory as efficient as reasonably possible, so the pollution cloud doesn't extend too far beyond our walls, really. Okay, this is falling behind, but it will catch up eventually. I think we're just... yeah, everything's running at full power. There's only so fast it can go. And that's the end of this episode. On the next one, we're going to use some of those machines that we're making and plan how to do ore washing and create a blueprint to make building it much easier and consistent. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.